Hello everybody, I want to welcome you back to my channel. My name is Andrew Eldridge and I want to welcome you to a new series I'm starting called the Marimba Modifiers. And in today's video I'm going to demonstrate Neunaber's flagship reverb pedal, the Immerse Mk II, which has become one of my very favorite reverb pedals to use when I'm first exploring sounds. I'm also going to talk a little bit about why I think you should reach for a reverb pedal first when you're experimenting with adding effects to your signal chain. So why should you use an effect pedal? Well, one is an effect pedal is going to alter your sound in a way that may provide interest for the listener. I want to change or alter the texture just a little bit so that the listener has something to draw their attention to. It might make it sound uncharacteristic of what a marimba might sound. I also use an effects pedal to draw part of the texture out of the way, maybe move something from the foreground to the background. But above all, I like to use effects if I want to have a little bit more fun on a specific part. Now with me being primarily in the Ableton world, I use an effects pedal as a starting point when I'm first learning how to apply certain effects. So I like to use guitar effects pedals plugged into my interface to learn what a particular effect can do. I try to create that same sound or preset in the Ableton devices myself. I found that if a pedal has a few presets already in place, then I can use those presets as a launching point to help my creativity. So today we're going to experiment with the Neunaber Immerse Mk II. Now this was the very first reverb pedal that I bought to experiment with on my sound. At the time I was wanting something that provided a little bit more of an ambient texture, and I'd heard that a lot of guitarists use this as an always-on reverb at the end of their chain, and more specifically for the wet algorithm, which Neunaber has been really known for in the ambient circles. The first effect we're going to explore on this pedal is called the wet algorithm. This is the flagship reverb for Neunaber. The wet algorithm has a smooth decay and it modulates the sound just a little bit so it sounds multi-dimensional. It's going to add a little bit more character to your sound without really getting in the way. Next algorithm is the plate algorithm, which is very popular with several instrumentalists. The plate reverb gets its name from a large metal plate that was suspended and mic'd up through the use of transducers. So plate reverb is going to have a more diffuse sound for your dry signal, and it's going to sound just a bit more bright. One of my favorites is the hall reverb, and this is going to simulate the sound of playing in a larger hall. Of course, I'm playing in a small room right now, but if I was on stage, the reverb trail would be a lot longer. So I'm used to hearing a hall reverb in my typical performing. The larger the hall gets, the more modulation that you have in your reverb trail. A spring reverb gets its name from a large metal spring that is strung between two transducers. And it's got a very characteristic tone, especially when you play short, biting sounds. It's going to have a twanginess that's very desirable for certain styles. Now the mod knob is what's going to increase or decrease how quickly the spring reacts. And so if you get that characteristic twerp sound, you're going to set that modulation to really quick. Or you can set it to really slow and get a nice vibrato sound on here. The sustain effect is based on the wet algorithm. And this is the effect that you can set to more of an infinite reverb if that's what you're wanting. but it holds a little bit of your signal in this infinite loop, and it continues that until it gets to the drop off, and then it lets go. And you can control how long the signal is held, and then how quickly the drop off happens at the very end. One of my favorite effects on this pedal is the echo algorithm. This particular effect adds an echo or delay into the signal as well as the reverb. You're going to use the time knob to adjust how quickly that delay happens. And in this particular effect, the depth knob is what controls how many times the delay repeats. The effect that I had the most fun with on this pedal was probably the detune effect. Now this detune effect takes your dry signal and it doubles it, and it lowers the pitch just slightly of the reverb signal. I love this detune effect because it adds just a chorus, a little bit more of a thickening sound to my overall signal. And the final effect on this pedal is the shimmer effect. This particular effect thickens up your sound quite a bit by adding harmonies, intervals above and below what your dry signal is, by adding possibly some fifths and octaves into what you're playing, so you can really sound like a bigger chorus when you use this effect. Of course, experimenting with any pedal wouldn't be fun without a little jam. Now before we continue, I want to ask you, leave a comment down below and tell me what your favorite effects pedal is to use in your signal chain. Especially if you're a non-guitarist, if you're like an acoustic instrumentalist like me, I'd love to get your opinion so that we can start experimenting more in my setups. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed today's in-depth look into the Neunaber Immerse Mk II. Please subscribe to my channel as I post videos that typically relate to live looping and the integration of electronics in my percussion setup. And please don't forget to like this video if you liked it. Now, if you want to check out more of me using effect pedals and effect plugins in my signal chains, you can check out this video right here, which is my latest looping video. And then here is a playlist of all of my loops together. They'd be great to check out to see what the possibilities are on this instrument itself.